I just hope that.
Welcome, everybody, to the October 9th regular school board meeting. We will stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, Michelle.
That's where you can later.
Yeah, you can do better.
Some of those sweet little text after me.
Okay, can I again welcome everybody? Exciting. It's like we got some presentations tonight. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
I will second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I
Alright. Okay. Consent agenda. Do we have any questions regarding the consent agenda?
I do. Sorry. I had some questions about the nursing corps for contract.
Uh-huh.
I have my notes.
So what I would suggest is we pull it out of the consent agenda
Thank
to make it a new item.
Great.
So
Thank you.
we'll do that. in
Okay.
the business.
Thank you.
Yep.
So do we need a motion to pull it out or?
Yeah, let's do that, just so that it gets taken care of. So you make a motion to pull it out.
I'd like to make a motion to pull out the school nurse for contract.
will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minus item G, I guess. Can I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I will motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on. Irie staff recognition, Mr. Tyler Dawkins.
Hey, Steve.
So after.
Go. All right. Thank you, board, for having me tonight. I'm super excited to be in front of you and talk a little bit about our amazing staff. As we begin, just framing our presentation and our commitments. And so what you'll hear is some themes along those lines. And really when it comes to building a culture of belonging, it starts with the people. Thank you, Dr. I appreciate that. And so what I'd like to do tonight is introduce some new folks, and some of them are here to our building. And these are folks that we hired through the spring and summer to come in and teach our babies. And so with that, I'm gonna actually have them introduce themselves, if that's okay, to stand up and say your name, and then what grade we teach would be great, okay? We'll start with Kennedy, Mrs. Johnson.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Johnson, and I'm teaching 5th grade this year at Ivory. I'm Taylor Brashears, and I'm teaching 4th grade at Ivory. I'm Lindsay Scotus, and I'm a lead from McCarthy in 5th grade at Ivory.
So, thank you, team.
Thank you all for choosing Meridian.
Thank you for choosing us.
Yeah. And I've talked about this a little bit before, but these people are kind of a big deal. And so Olivia Klein is also a counselor who's a new hire who's not here tonight. And I want to take the moment to talk about how truly special these people are. When we think about our hiring process, we have more than 200 applicants that I've kind of experienced as a principal in like 3 to 4 years. When we have a position that opens up in the spring and your typical teacher hiring season happens, March, April, May, and sometimes spills over to the summer, the fact that we leave a pool open and have over 200 candidates applies tells you something that's pretty special. But also when you're ending up with only 3 or 4 teachers out of 200 candidates, it means they've really risen to the top in what they've demonstrated. We conducted 40 to 50 Zoom screeners of these 200 candidates, which is just tell us about yourself, what's your story, why Meridian, why now, to get to know people. And then we kind of whittle that down into demo lessons. And that's something that's unique to our school. We're actually starting to get a reputation about that in a good way. And people are like, whoa, they're doing demo lessons. And so what happens is everyone that you saw behind here did exceptional with those demo lessons. And that's basically a 20-minute lesson to see what does it look like for you to teach our babies, real life kids, not adults, but our kids in our class. And then we get feedback from our kids about what that experience was like We involve them in that process. So basically what that looks like is they come in and they get a tour from our kids. They take a couple minutes to catch their breath and get ready to teach a very vulnerable demo lesson. And then we do a debrief, and we sit down and we go through a live coaching session with them because we set that expectation that we do coaching at our school. So it's a pretty magical process. They've risen to the top, and I just want to celebrate them because your classrooms look amazing. And I was just talking to my wife and Kurt Harville about this before the meeting. It's one of the best starts of the year that we've had in terms of every single classroom really kind of operating at a high level. And that's really awesome to see, and quite a challenge in a school of 36 classrooms, right? And it's a lot of classrooms and, 760, 70 kids. So I'm pretty excited about that. So just thank you so much for being a part of this. And I hope it's been a magical start, and we're really, really excited to have you here. So, okay. The other part that I want to talk about with our school as we transition is we have done some talking and reading and video watching about this book by Will Guidara, who's a restaurateur at the #1 restaurant in the world. And he talks about this idea of unreasonable hospitality. And so we've really kind of taken that to thinking about what does it look like for our kids and our families' experiences within our school, and the difference between service, because we are customer service, and hospitality is really black and white to the color, right? Adding color to the experience. And so it's just this remarkable, power of giving people more than they expect. And so we've taken that and think about, okay, how can we actually use our staff meetings in a more unique way to be more responsive to families? One of the challenges is there's just a limited amount of time in the day. And so we have kind of shifted some of the ways that we think about our staff time and come together to open it up to invite families. So instead of having, a small handful of family nights, the staff have come together and said, let's expand this. And so we're seeing more family engagement with our math showcase as we adopt our new math curriculum. And I really want to just recognize the ideas that came from the staff to be able to do this. And we had our first one last night, which was pretty awesome. About 20% of our families came in, which is great. And we'll continue to build on that momentum in the future. And also highlight that Dr. Everett's coming to those, a couple of those for the Thriving Futures too. So I want to take time to recognize that. Yeah.
Is there any consideration for working families? I did receive a message about the timeline.
So yes, so this timeline of all of these events have already been communicated way in advance, so that way people can mark those out. One of the challenges that is also happens, like I grew up with families who do shift work, right? And so we got to think about how do we create more space and opportunity for families to come in if they have work during 4 to 5. And that's a challenge, and we're going to continue to problem solve that.
And that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
if there's any options for the after work groups.
Absolutely. Still on it, taking solutions. We were trying to work within what our typical contract workday is, without getting into any, we don't want to get into any irresponsible blowing the budget by spending a bunch of money and paying people for all this overtime. We got to be thoughtful. But I would also name that we love when families come in and we like to invite them into the school. So we encourage people to come and serve. There's a process to come and observe, but yeah, that is definitely under consideration. Rebecca, I won't go over this, but Rebecca came in. I'm really proud of the work that she's done when she talked about formative with everybody, right? As that, remember that presentation she gave? We've gone over the first couple of weeks and we're seeing some pretty awesome results and people responding to that data. And so I want to take some time to make sure we recognize that our staff for the hard work. It is hard to get all teachers to take the same exact assessment across a grade level in a consistent way every 7 to 10 days. Like that's pretty miraculous and really impressive. And so Rebecca has done a phenomenal job in that. And then the last part I want to recognize in terms of achievement is we beat the state, which is really exciting. Average for our assessment scores last year, our 5th grade team had about 50% of kids passing the ELA test, and the state average is 48. And I think that's the culmination of a lot of hard work, and we still have room to grow, right? We're not gonna rest on our laurels on this, but we will spike the football to celebrate and continue to make progress. So that's it for the academic achievement part. An area that we're working on that a lot of people have been doing some good work with, a lot of great support from Adrian, Teaching and Learning, on working on our intervention. So you've been hearing about PLCs, and you'll probably hear more and see what that looks like later tonight. But we've taken that mindset of intervention and learning and applying it to behavior. So the last people I really want to recognize tonight are our assistant principals, both Mr. Beatty and Miss Norman, because they've taken that same tiered approach with behavior as learning. right? Just like anything we teach, we can't expect what we don't teach. And so we have taken that same approach of what is good for everybody at tier one. If students are struggling with expectations at tier one with our Meridian mindsets, what do we do in terms of how we respond? And we have very clear templates for that. And then if they continue to struggle, how do we create more intensive interventions? And so what you see is just different levels of plans to support some of the needs for our students in our school. And so that's been an incredible process to witness, and seeing Nate and Trisha both develop that system and start to follow through and execute that system has been really, really impressive to watch on a support level. So those are the folks I'd really love to take tonight to recognize, and I'm super glad you got a chance to meet our new teachers who are incredible. And I hope you continue to hear the amazing stories of the things that are happening in their classrooms. I've had a chance to go into all their classrooms, and it's a pretty awesome experience. So that's it for me today, team. Any questions or comments?
It's gotta be tough.
Say more. Working with me every day? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I go back to you three.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids over there, so.
It is definitely. Can I ask the three of you what you thought about the process of doing the demo lesson?
I'm nerve-wracking, obviously, but I really can't think of a better way to vet somebody than watching them teach a group of children and seeing their process and how their kindness and how they treat the kids. So I thought it was really cool.
I think that it really made a huge impact on being able to express what I believe are my strengths and the reason why I went into teaching. I think you don't have that opportunity. You can't just tell somebody about it. You have to feel it. And so it gave me the opportunity to express it and it be received.
I agree. I was really excited because I always say, I don't want to tell you about what I'm good at. I want you to see it. So it's really cool to just go in and do your thing and have people evaluate you for it.
That's great. Thank you for doing that.
That's cool. Also, I've heard some people go, I don't know if I want to apply there because I don't know if I want to go through the process. And I'm kind of like, okay, fine. Like, you don't want to, I'm going to see you teach anyway. So let's just start it now. It like sets an expectation and a tone. I think it attracts a certain person, right? Who really like loves, eats, breathes, sleeps teaching. And then the other thing is what was also beautiful about the demo lessons with this crew is you can tell from the little things. You can sit and you can ask questions, but by seeing it, you get the answers, not just to 10 to 13 questions, but you get the answers to 100 questions. When a kid comes in, because they went to the bathroom and they went there when the demo lesson was set up, you see a student walk in, the little thing, does the teacher notice the kid walk into the class? Do they say, hey, this is where we're at in the lesson, right? Do they take that time and that moment to really pay attention to every kid? That's stuff you can't talk about or see in interview. And you kind of give away the answer just by asking the question, right? And so those are little things that you see that are pretty magical. And that's what this group of teachers that we've hired has, what it takes. And it's been a really special process to be a part of. And I'm really glad they're here because they're incredible.
Thank you.
And we're really glad you implemented that because now we can go into other buildings.
Wasn't just me, it was a team effort. There was a lot, but I appreciate that, yes.
Because I do know of another school in the county that's doing this at all grade levels and seeing great results. So I'm glad we're on board with that.
Yeah. Great. Okay, that's it. Thank you,
Yeah.
team. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You know where to find me if you have
Thanks for
questions.
Okay. Moving on, do we have any public comment this evening? Okay. We will go on to presentations, and it looks like it's the highly capable program with Miss Adrian Samara.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Montgomery. I am the highly capable coordinator as well. Okay,
Rebecca is in charge of this. I'm supporting her.
Okay, yeah.
It's really her.
and I'm setting a timer so that I stay on time. Yeah, so I'm the highly capable coordinator. I work in this role in the district on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I teach at MP3, so I have two hats. I get to be in every single building, and it's lovely. So I have a lot on my slides this time. What I will do. Where are we? Just click this one. Joe, this one. Okay. Hey, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about my slides and the program as it is this year. So every year come to you with our board policy, you approve it. We say real quick, we talk about the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We talk about our lowest students who need interventions down here. This is where I live. Okay, and these kids they need as many interventions as the rest of our students. These are the children that, are gonna get bored easily, or if they're not challenged, at some point in their life, they're going to be challenged and they're gonna fall apart. And I don't want that to happen when they get to college. I want it to happen now. I want to be there to give them the support. I'm also get to live in the tier 2 as well. So currently, we identify high cap students through a series of, we collect data, we give a test, we give what's called the COGAT test to every single second grader, a screener, and every single fifth grader at the end of January, beginning of February, and then any other student in the district that's nominated. And then we sit down as a team, we have another person on our team, we go through all of the test scores, we look at other scores, and we discuss, does this student need an intervention? Do they need something beyond the challenge in the classroom? Right now, our demographics as compared to the district, we are seeing that we are still not quite making the mark for our Asian, African American, or Latino students. We are looking through, as we look through our data, we do take into consideration social or SES and ethnicity, and we are looking extra procedures in play to do that. One thing we want to do is to look for other tests that are not as ethnically biased. Sorry, I am not talking. It's been a long day. Okay. So what does this look like? What does high cap look like in Meridian? Right now, we have differentiation in the core classroom. We have cluster classrooms at the elementary school, and students have access to me, access to other materials as well. At the middle school, students are clustered in homeroom and in social studies, and I work with the social studies team. At the high school, just like every other high school in Whatcom County, everyone has access to all of the advanced classes. What I do is I meet with our freshmen, try and meet with them about once or twice a month and just see how they're doing. I tell them that my role becomes advocate and not so much the one that pushes them. I also keep track of their grades. My sophomores, I try and meet about once a month. And then again, juniors and seniors, I don't meet with them as much. They're pretty much ready to go. So several goals, academic opportunities. So I'm just gonna talk about real quick, some of the things we do. Like I said, at the high school, I meet with the T3 students, or I meet with the freshmen, sophomores during T3. At the middle school, I'm meeting with those students twice a week during win time. So, and then elementary school at the moment, we've scaled back to a pull out about once a week right now. I'm trying to push into the classes more because then I can access more students and not just our students who are labeled high cap, which has been really nice. I'm also working with teachers, so I'm giving them data. I am helping them identify students that need that extra challenge. I'm helping, one of the things I did last year is our second grade team decided that they wanted to teach different levels for one unit. And so I worked with one teacher. We identified the students who really needed an extra push. She taught a unit on Greek and Latin roots and then a novel unit during their last time. And we were able to look at their scores and say, okay, we've made progress. So it's been really good. I also collaborate with the counselors. One of the things I will highlight here is grade 1, grade 5 library buddies. The first grade teachers came to me and they said, hey, we have a bunch of kids reading above grade level. What can we do? So I pulled a group of fifth graders who took those first graders to the library, showed them the nonfiction section and kind of encourage them to grab books of their interest so that during their T2 reading time, they were able to go beyond just the books in the classroom, and it was kind of a really nice system for them. The fifth graders also learned the Dewey Decimal System, which was kind of nice. Yeah, and these are all the cute, wonderful kids I get to work with too. And then we also talk about critical thinking, creative thinking. Because I work so closely with the social studies team at the middle school, I look at the projects that all of the high cap students turn in. We did a whole unit on, hey, Google Slides are great, but let's talk about what are our learning styles? What are some other projects we can do? And then by the next project, everybody came up with something different. This was one of our examples. Oh, I should go back. I'll talk about it. So next steps, I have a ton of them. I always have a big list of things to do. But I really want to meet with counselors more to talk about those social emotional needs, especially in the high school. We've got a lot of high achieving kids and work with them. I want to continue to work with the teachers at IRE during their T2 time. With all teachers in the math, teaching at the same time. This has been great. We've identified 2 students that we're going to be moving up to another grade level and just trying it out right now. But they can do that because they're all doing the same thing at the same time. So more collaboration with teachers. I also want to bring the National History Day program to the high school. We have it, we now have 1 MP3 student. We have 24 middle school students who are signed up for History Day. So that's pretty exciting. And I still want to take somebody to nationals. So anyhow, evaluating our program. Once a year, Adrian and I sit down with elementary school, middle school, and high school teachers separately and just talk about these are the strengths of the program, these are the weaknesses of the program, what can we do better? So, and I'm able to say at the high school, okay, these are the students that we are serving and we are doing a great job. Here's a couple, why are we not serving them? We can look at each individual student and come up with, okay, this one, it's a social emotional, this one, they're doing great, you know, I can tell you right now how each high cap student in our district is being served, which is, I like that. And then finally, we realize the COGAT test that we're giving is expensive. We have to give a grade 2 screener. That's a state mandate. The state also said we had to do something in 5th grade. Right now, we are giving the screener in 5th grade, but we're going to do a data sort and see if maybe we can actually collect more students that we don't have to give this test. We're trying to really pull in more students. I also want to work with families and with staff and get some good data about the effectiveness of the program. I have relationships with all the families, but I'd like to have some numbers that I can really play with to see also what does our community think. And then this year I'm going to be in a PLC of statewide coordinators, which is kind of exciting. So I can talk to people all around the state and see I'm not reinventing the wheel. That was a lot of information, and these are cute, adorable children. Do you have any questions for me?
Before you ask questions too, I just want to recognize and celebrate it's working across all of the schools 3 days a week is a lot to keep track of and manage. And so Rebecca is very thoughtful about knowing her students, knowing what they need, working with the teachers. So it's a lot to do in a short amount of time. I just want to appreciate that.
Thank you. And I appreciate you answered my questions. I was curious about family feedback. And then also if you had a peer group that you could network with so that you aren't reinventing the wheel and see what's going on around us.
This is a new one this year, and I think it's gonna be really good.
But I'm glad you're able to do that.
What's National History Day?
National History Day. So down here in the corner, use this creation of NATO and flags. So national program, there is a theme and students can do a research project and tied to that theme. So last year's theme was turning points in history. And Kristen Garlatz is actually the teacher who came to me and said, hey, what about this for our high cap students? I said, well, let's figure this out. We work with Robert Kratzik. We brought it to the middle school and we have a lot of really good projects. So they can produce a poster board. We had students produce a little movie. We had a student write, it was a college level, at least a 20-page essay, parenthetical documentation, footnotes. They have to have an annotated bibliography. We make them have at least 20 sources, primary and secondary. So this year we're starting off right away. We do this twice a week in homeroom at the middle school. And the really neat part is it's not just our high cap students. It's anybody that wants to join that is looking for an extra push. So yeah, they get to geek out on anything in history they want.
Awesome.
And we go to Monroe for competition. Yeah,
There was a presentation.
there was, yeah.
Do we do anything with Destination Imagination?
We have it right now. I don't know if we've done that in the past.
I don't think we have that.
One of my children did it and went to nationals in Tennessee.
Ooh, okay,
It's,
can look into that, yeah.
it's, yeah.
Other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was very exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now it's just Adrian. Professional development plan.
Thank you for letting me move this to this week. I was sick last time, so I appreciate the
We may need.
flexibility.
For the high cap.
Oh,
Sorry.
we need
We
a
may,
motion.
we need a motion for the high cap.
Oh, we're gonna do that now. Okay, it's not in the-
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah.
You do that.
I thought it was just a presentation.
It
was great.
does say
It was
it.
informative.
Move approval.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll move to approve the highly capable program.
I'll second.
okay, all those in favor?
Right.
You seem like you care a lot. so-
And I think I wanted, one thing that before I go into this, that she pointed out was that you don't have to be identified formally to benefit from that fact that we have someone who is kind of targeting that other side of the pyramid. So any student, sometimes kids need to stretch just in one little area. And so having someone who's there to kind of help work with the teachers is good for all of our students, not just students who have a formal identification. Right, so professional development, to share this with every year about some things that we're excited about this year with our professional development plans. So I just want to highlight a few. So our board policy really talking about the importance that you have for recognizing professional development growth for both our teachers, our non-administrative staff, and our administrators. And really, when we're thinking about making our plan for professional development, we are coming back to this, the strategic plan and our commitments, and I think that work has been really valuable in helping us to focus when we're thinking about our professional development plans. To make sure that as we're spending time with teachers, improving skills, we're talking to our paraeducators about things that we're tying it back to these things that we really value and these commitments that we've made. So it is really something we're very much trying to embed in we have professional development. So we do professional development for our teachers. I'm not going to read these all, but they're, I think, things that we've been doing for many years. And then there's a couple pieces that I think that I want to highlight this year. So we talked about the waiver days. Again, the board had approved our petition OSPI for those days. So those are the 3 days that we have. Our last one was Friday. You might have seen, I think Lisa had put some pictures of the staff. One thing that was really great about that was that we actually this time had teachers who presented to each other in the morning. So we're able to access some expertise on that.
And some admin.
And some admin, yes. But we usually have had admin, and to have some more teachers was great. So that was great. We have our beginning educator support team, and Cynthia Richardson, who was our TOSA, I think she talked about that a little bit, but we have any new teacher here is supported with Cynthia and groups of the ESD, and they have a mentor who gets training on how to mentor them. They're in class, they get a chance to observe other classrooms. They have a lot of professional support. So when we're thinking about like our new teachers that are just joining us, new to the profession, that's real support that we have to help make sure that they have a strong start and that they're supported with expert colleagues. So those are a couple of things I wanted to highlight there. Our student support teams are also involved in training outside here. I think Rebecca kind of talked about connecting with another group PLC of people who have similar roles. We do a similar thing like our ML specialists. There's an ESD ML group that meets monthly. so they can share ideas and get professional learning. This year, we're gonna be pulling our special education team together to do some review on best practices and look at some of their intervention programs to find things that are more, maybe more impactful around areas that we're challenged with. This year, we're also starting a district literacy team. So we have some literacy experts in every building, and this year we have a literacy specialist who works in the middle and high school, both, and then our elementary school specialist, and we're pulling them together along with some, one of our ML teachers and Jill Hammock, who's here, the middle school, trying to work on alignment across the district for literacy and building those MTSS systems for literacy. So that is both professional development for them as a group, but also then they're able to take that and share it with their buildings. We're also, this is our second year of having a micro program here in the district. And so the first year, last year, we really were kind of learning what it meant to be migrant, have a migrant program and what supports we're putting in place for that. And this year, Elvia Troutman is really, takes the lead on that. And she's been doing a lot of connection with other folks in ESD, but we will have some more training for our teachers and all of our staff about how we support our students who are migrant. So that's been great too. Our administrators do professional development. So we meet twice a month in an ELT team, and we've done that for a while, but I think one thing I'm really excited about this year is that team has really made a commitment to using that time for their own learning and helping them work together to improve their practice. And so one thing that's really exciting that has happened already is learning walks. I think Tyler kind of shared a little bit about getting into classrooms and how important it is to observe that. They have already this year been in each other's buildings. So they've partnered up to go and do observations. We've worked together as a team to do some observations. We have some data tracking that we're doing around certain things we're looking for as a team. So that's really helping that administrative team help each other to see different things in buildings and getting them into each other's buildings. And that's been really great. And our directors all have a 30-day head meeting, and Dr. helps lead some of that, and we do some book studies there. So there's learning that happens with that team as well. Each of our buildings also has individual PD that they're doing. So just a couple of the things here that we want to highlight. Our math team at the middle school got really excited about improving their talk in their classroom. So they're on their own. They got a book that they're reading and they're doing study together. We had our youngest learners did some training on the pyramid model, which is a behavior support sort of a thing with them. Do you want to say anything about that?
Well, as we talk about how we're going to be emphasizing career opportunities and just awareness for students, we're wanting to embed that. So just continuing to figure out how best to do that as that unfolds. Just to remind you, it's a 4-year initiative. We just had our first year, which was really for us, the first time of pulling the team together. And as we move forward, we've got 3 more years embedded so that when the grant's done, we're still moving forward.
I think that the nice thing about this is that we aren't just talking to the Meridian folks, but we're able to talk with people across the region, across the state, and learn from each other. So these opportunities that we have to learn from each other and within our buildings are great. We do professional development for our classified staff, and I really want to just recognize our directors here because they also are really attending to professional development for their teams. So like the maintenance folks took a certified playground maintenance trip. Joe's got his folks doing some training, so it's everyone, regardless of where they are in our district, is really committed to improving our practice, and professional learning is for everyone, not just for classroom teachers. And I think that's something that's become really important to our director team. That's
so before you move on,
that's the end of that one.
if I can just throw out that, we've seen, and I've talked about the great work that Adrian's done around alignment in our classrooms and with our teachers, but this is a relatively new piece for us, is having the alignment for professional development, and to have a group of administrators and directors who lean into it. That alignment that's happening, they're not just going into different buildings to talk about their challenges or the things that they're having as successes. They're sharing their protocols, and they're sharing the tools, and they're having conversations, and just had some really great feedback from staff and colleagues about how they did professional development last week. And Adrian and her team and the folks that presented, just, it went really well, super exciting. We have a lot of great expertise in the district and to be able to tap into our own and not have to go elsewhere. It's great.
Any questions about?
You coordinating all this behind the scenes and making it happen?
Not by myself, certainly, but yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I think-
Oh, I'm getting an honest answer in the background.
No, like the staff day, Tyler, Robert and Jill, so really helped to help pull that together this year and really helped organize it. The building principals are very involved in structuring those things for their buildings. Everybody gives me input, so I think we have.
But I think thinking
But yes,
outside the
it's a-
box,
it's a-
thinking outside the box and
With
creating
support.
something that works for Meridian that will protect and hone in on the Meridian culture, I think is big. When you bring someone from the outside in, it changes it. So kudos.
And I
Kudos for
think
doing
that it's also just recognizing our staff that, you know, it's really easy to say, I really just want to spend this time getting my grading done, and to take time and to value and to be willing to be like really active participants in their learning and value it and say we want more of that. That's also something that I think is just really
Awesome.
Nice.
Then I have another one.
Sorry, if
So,
you need
yeah,
something
I know,
to you off
it's
topic,
fine.
it's me.
So I wanted to share, talk about professional learning communities, and we've done this a few times, so this is short, but I am gonna give a couple, examples instead of just talking about it. So we're gonna have our PLC teams can start presenting data again coming up here in the next few weeks. So it's just a little foreshadowing. So if you remember, we really, the PLCs, I think, are focusing both on the learning and then also the support things. So they're really talking about how do we get better at our first instruction, and then how do we work together to make sure that kids aren't understanding it the first time. We're noticing that, we're seeing that, we're looking at our data, and we're moving. So like the examples that Tyler was giving about how these teams are working together in that PLC process. That's really what we need for here. So connected very much to our commitments. And this is a reminder, you've seen this a bunch of times from me, but of all the data that we look at, we talked about data assessment when we gave you our metrics for the strategic plan and our screening data there. And then like the common formative assessments are really what we're looking at with our professional learning community. So those are where our teachers are talking about the stuff that is most close to their classroom. They're really looking at what they're doing with kids every day, tied to those big state standards. But by the time you take that big state test, the kids have graduated, they're out of your classroom. There's not a lot you can do. So we want to make sure that we're catching along the way with it. And so that's really our focus here. So I wanted to just share this time a couple artifacts just of how these teams are doing the work, because I think you've heard about it a lot and you've seen the outcomes of it a lot, but not the work itself. So there's a couple pieces I wanted to show. This is a tool that the middle school is using, but all of the buildings have something similar, where their teams are actually tracking and paying attention to where they are on this cycle of work. So you'll see in the buildings, if you go into their website, they'll see different teams are in different places. And that allows their guiding coalition team to say, where are folks? What do we need to support people with? And so they're that's one strategy that the teams are using, and their building leadership and their teacher leaders are using to help support each other's teams. So this is an example here of that. And then the other thing I wanted to do is just show last year, Jill actually took a video of our kindergarten team during a PLC. And this is just about a 9-minute video. I'm just going to show a little bit of it, but you have access to the whole thing. I just wanted to give a chance to see what does it feel like in these meetings. So I wanted to just highlight this team and take a few minutes to watch some of their work groups. So Joe, do I need to? So we'll just watch a few minutes. What you're going to see is you'll see sort of the PLC leader team. They have a protocol they're going through, and you're going to see them talking about some of the data. So this is a common assessment that they all did that they're looking at. Thank you.
So what did you decide evidence was? Saying because. Only because the reason why. That's right. So now that we've kind of looked at these a little bit more, we compared the data or spreadsheet fire, what concepts or skills are we noticing need to be retaught to the whole class? So where are our big holes that we're missing? Mine is still sentence structure. That's kind of looks like feelings and into some capitalization also. I noticed in my data, specifically, because I post them. Like, what's more specific in this, where I had to be equal or similar data for, they were all still on topic, and less of them. Great to get that. Since you offered already both the background for it, I think it's what they liked.
So you can say they taught it differently and they're looking to see if there's a difference in how the kids perform.
Yeah, like on our chart, I like. My favorite is, or I would want, they're really trying to drill, like, I would want to be a bully, or I would want to be, you know, like, that was my main focus. But like, if someone looked at the chart, like, often the chart, if you wrote I like, and that was fine with me because he was on topic. How many of your students chose that I would want? Most, a lot, most all of them, yeah, and some of them wrote it a little bit, like, I want, or I would. But they, yeah, it's a good job with that.
I also feel like I have a few that are still stuck on informational writing or narrative writing, like narrating what the bee's doing and it's going home, or instead of like their own opinion. So,
And I definitely have that too. I was trying to think about. To get back up, something I sort of talked about like different genres of writing, but I was trying to think of how I could recreate that, but make it more simplified. So when we're still at the department, that older, I can reference it, like come up and like touch, so which one or I'm offering either exclusive or informational or something that will grab them. I no longer have that either, and now they're born, right? So it's different than when. And I get the question too, like, well, can I write imaginative, you know, so there's definitely all the genres are just in their brain now, and they're definitely trying to like sort out okay, what is what, when I can write whatever, so. Yeah, that's a good idea to get like the chart back out and do review genres. All the different ones that we've already learned. So then if
I'm gonna pause there.
or-
I do encourage you to, if you have time to watch the whole video. I think it's pretty interesting. You can see them get through a whole cycle, but what I really. This team does a great job of, but a lot of them are doing a similar work, is just highlighting the pieces in there where you see that they are looking at their data. So they're saying, what did the kids learn well? What are we missing? What do we need to reteach? And then as a team, they're sharing, wow, my kids didn't get this, but your kids did. Tell me the way that you taught this. And that's also part of what happens in these teams is they own the kids together. So it's not my classroom, your classroom, that since they own them together, they are really committed to helping each other get as good as they can around teaching and identifying together things that are working and aren't working so they can spread that to all the kids.
And confirming, this is what happens every Friday on our late arrivals.
This
right?
is a Friday late arrivals.
Yeah, perfect. And it's every week.
Yes.
Awesome.
Just gonna throw in, I love those conversations stem from the student work. You saw what they were passing around, but that's at every level. It's good. Because it is too easy to go back to what Adrian said, let's look at grading, let's look at this, and our admin do a really nice job creating an environment so that this is what our staff are involved in on Fridays. It's taken a while. But we're seeing its benefit, right?
Back to this slide.
Yes. One thing,
Mhm.
also just like, you can't really tell who the grade level leader is in that meeting. And actually, if I told you who it was, you might be surprised. right? Like you see Jessica facilitating the grade level leader, and that's Natalie. And I think the other thing that getting to what Adrian talked about shared ownership, there's distributed leadership on that team. So everyone feels that sense of ownership in all kids, and it's just really powerful. So I just want to shout out that team again.
And I think the work that we made a shift a couple of years ago in our leadership teams. We've always had teacher leaders in the buildings, but we made a shift so they moved away from being focused on like, well, let's make the schedule or what are we doing about lunch to leading these groups. And I think that that has also made a big difference because there's more support for the PLCs doing really effective work. And so this is actually, Lisa has a spot for us on an internal step hub where she's created that so everybody can save their things and get to them, and we have resources that can be shared. So there are a lot of systemic things that I'm trying to do to help as well. So it's not just the teachers, the building principals, it's all of us trying to get this to work. So and I think it's really had a good impact on our students. And so when you come and you see the teams presenting and sharing the data that they come, these are the kinds of things that are happening in the background.
Pretty cool.
Any questions?
I have a quick ask of our new team members. So I'm not sure if this is your first year teaching, any of you, but it's your first year at Meridian. So how has this environment impacted you as far as being a part of a team immediately in these PLCs every Friday morning and kind of getting your little, and your team family together, your on-site family, and then also your mentoring program that's supporting you? Like, for those of you that this isn't your first rodeo, is that a new experience?
Yeah, I'll speak for myself. I mean, I taught in 2 different districts at 2 different schools. It was my 3rd landing spot. And PLC is happening, but everywhere I've been, it's PLC-like. And that's like Adrian's saying, talking about behaviors and this, and it's really cool to be at a place that there's expectations and norms, and we're looking at student work, and we're focused on data, and we're keeping time. And it feels really powerful and effective to be a part of the PLC that is like that way.
I came from California, so this is not my first year teaching. It's my first year teaching in Washington, and this by far has been the most effective team to be a part of because we have structure, we know what's expected of us, and there's outcomes. There's always an outcome, and I think that has made a huge impact on my teaching. And for the mentoring, that is not new to me, but it is structured again far differently. That's very effective. I do have to shout out Meridian. It is an amazing district, and I feel super lucky to be a part of it.
This is my first rodeo, so. Yeah, that's 2 past years, but I will say that coming into a team like this, I felt so supported. And a lot of people talk about your first year teaching as kind of a mess. You don't really feel like you know what's going on, but coming into a PLC, with the structure, I just feel like I know what to do. My team has got my back. We're constantly talking about the students and making changes if we need to. So it's been a great first experience.
I just want to add one more thing, is it's like all student focused, always. It's always for the betterment of the child, and I think that's really.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you for your feedback.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Nicely done.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Adrian.
So we have a new business item now.
We want to do new business. Do we typically do new business before roll?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that now. We don't have any new business other than what was pulled out, so that's why I wasn't sure.
Okay.
We can do it now. Just fine.
Don't we do it before?
You had questions on the nursing board.
Oh, yes. It's not.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah. That's our only new business item.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And welcome. So my understanding is we've addressed this every year. It's the same contract every year. I just had questions, the review of the health services process and needs and the individual healthcare plans. I just wanted to make sure that anything that we're doing is in alignment with parental consent and involvement.
All of these are health plans that parents have either weighed in or approved. They're with nurses. We have students who have life and death medication
Right.
and monitoring. And so the 2 parts are we receive funding for half of the nurse and then the agreement with them, as well as making sure that we commit to following HIPAA and privacy rules around health. But yes, this is something that we've had for a long time.
And I'm new to the board and I just wanted clarification.
That's great.
Okay.
That's good.
And I just wanted to confirm that any policies or processes that they suggest are still at the discretion of the board for approval.
We don't go through and dissect them. So what we have in the contract is we're following what they have to follow around the same, when I'm talking about health, like a health professional would follow. So when we talk about sharing information, we commit to sharing that information with nurses from the ESD that oversees our nurse team, as well as ensuring that it's going to be private. So we have to be able to have that coordination with the nurse at the ESD, but then we maintain privacy rules.
Yeah, the only other thing I had questions about was a lot of reflection on assurances and laws. And so just kind of curious what those might look like at the state level. And
Yeah,
I'll do
so,
some research.
yeah, so in terms of how this is the nursing core through the ESD that all ESDs have in place to support students who need nursing support in classrooms.
And again, my concern is that it's in full transparency with parents, whatever is happening.
We are asking for that approval as well, to approve that contract.
Move to approve the contract.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to old business. Second review and approval of policy 5409, unpaid holidays for reason of faith, conscience, and resolution 1124. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Right. It's interesting. I know.
Oh, we don't have either of them today? Oh, bugger.
Okay. Well, at least I don't have to forget them in front of them.
One had a commitment, that just came up and one was,
Oh.
It's homecoming week, there's activities every, right? I thought they were doing something
You
fun.
need,
With 5409, there's a resolution that we need approval of as well.
Oh, there's something.
yeah. Can I get approval of resolution 11-24?
So I'll motion to adopt the resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Marty's not here to check me. Okay, second review and approval of policy 5400, personal leave. I get a motion to adopt.
I'll motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Second review and approval, policy 3432, emergencies. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, or I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Second review and approval, NCTA fire science interlocal agreement. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve NCTA fire science agreement.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, second review and approval, NCTA open doors interlocal agreement. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the NCTA Open Doors interlocal agreement.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Second review and approval, NCTA HUD interlocal agreement. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve NCTA HUD interlocal agreement.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. Dr. Everett.
Thank you for all of those.
Yes.
Appreciate that. So I just have a little bit of sharing on some pieces. Beginning of the school year for me is a lot of fun, actually. I am more than most years in the past, spending time in classrooms and, what's nice, Lisa's been there to capture some of those images and you may have seen them on social media, but I'm spending time in classrooms. And so, part of the strategy when I've been doing the Learning Thrives meetings for adults, I'm not getting a lot of traction. People are busy and it's hard. You have a couple come all the time, but that's about what we can count on. And so, part of what we're trying to do is also broaden the conversation with our students. So spend some time in each of our classrooms at each grade level, at the high school. And so I still have sophomores and I think they'll be on Monday. And then on the 30th, I'll be visiting an eighth grade classroom, but we're calling them Learning Thrives or opportunities, and they're questions that they have about anything, or if it's somewhat quiet, I'll talk about the bond, or I'll talk about the skill center, and I'll talk about different things. So they've been great. And so I spent some time with Miss Ames and Mrs. Berner's classes on the 25th and the 30th. And then typically when I go and I visit with our principals, I'll also have them take me to some classrooms that they want me to see. It's not a long time, maybe 10 minutes or so. And I did that with Natalie Heine, and then she sent me an email and said, thanks for coming, would love to have you take part in a learning walk. And so she actually worked with Angie a little bit to set up a schedule for last Thursday. So I spent 3 hours at Ivory, 15, 20 minutes in 8 different classrooms throughout, early childhood and into second, third grade. And so those are the names there, but definitely will be doing that again as well. It's phenomenal the work our teachers are doing for our students, and then the support staff. It is really great, and I would like to invite anytime you have an interest, not just an event, but if you'd like to go, I'd be proud to take you around.
I think it's really important for our students to see you as approachable. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm gonna keep doing more, so. Attended the NCCE board meeting. And so that's all in preparation for the Northwest Council of Computer Education, which really is one of the premier conferences on the Northwest for educators, applying the use of technology both to improve instruction, but also to increase effectiveness of teaching. And so it's been great to be part of that board. And then Jay Yeager, who has taken on program management role, as well as Daniel and myself, we have been attending some webinars on how to decipher and understand federal funding so that we can claim both our $4 million for the Early Learning Center from Senator Murray, but also one of the ILAs we just approved allows us to work with Mount Vernon when they get their amount from Congressman Larson. So we're still working on that part. So it was a good time to bring Jay in because he's all the details. Daniel's doing a good job with that as well. Here's a few images for the Waiver Day Professional Development Learning. As a reminder, we have 3 waiver days. We worked with the state and actually Adrian was critical in helping us put together a plan that says these are the things we're going to focus on these 3 days. And our next one's going to be November 1st. But we really wanted to work on elevating student status through talk. When we talk about understanding what student voice is, that's hearing what they're concerned with and understanding what their experiences are. But in the classroom, it's also an instructional move to have students process content, be able to discuss it, and then be in a position to either give examples or exercise something or participate in some kind of a simulation, not cold, but to have some processing time, or give instructors another avenue to understand where their students are. We talk a lot about checking for understanding, but it's also important to check for misunderstanding. So it was a big hit. They really did a nice job. And we had it at the middle school so that, everyone in the district understands the status of the middle school. So it was good. We have an opportunity to add a 3rd transitional kindergarten classroom. This is something that the executive team, along with Daniel, processed quite a bit from the beginning of the school year. We had set ourselves up with 2 TK classrooms. We target anywhere from 15 to 17 is the number we want, and given students that had come to us either with siblings that were already in our system at a different grade, or what we call legacy students, we ended up adding more students. So we have 19 and 20, and these are 4-year-olds. So, and the way we run a TK classroom is we have a certified teacher and a para. So we provide direct instruction and support. And then we received some word that OSPI is concerned about funding being enough for the rest of the school year in March or April, because they had a policy error in identifying the amount of TK students. We also had 8 families who wanted to join, and so we had to make a decision. Do we add a 3rd classroom and come up with a plan on how to cover that if they aren't able to make the funding work? And so the plan is OSBI is going to work with a supplemental budget request with the legislature to cover that. And they've also been applying to identify if they can transfer funding from elsewhere. So OSBI seems favorable about it. And what it came down to for us is we know these students are coming. We understand the investment of early childhood education, and we know we'll be paying a premium to support these children if we don't serve them now. So we went ahead, we're going through the steps to bring in a 3rd TK classroom. We'll bring down those numbers of students in 2 classes and even things out. So we're looking forward to serve those students and keep advocating and working with OSPI and make sure that we get those covered, those costs covered. But want to make sure that you knew where we were going. For us, this is the epitome of helping our kids thrive. It doesn't just impact this year, it'll impact the next 13 years for them. And so we're committed to figuring out how to make that work. Very cool.
Dr. Everett, last meeting we talked about this was gonna be a possibility. Obviously it sounds like it's happening, which is great. When does that class start for the kids?
Well, we've posted for the position. Did we lose Tyler?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I think the hope is to have the kids in the class by the 1st of every day.
Well, it will be, yes, it will be, because we want to also be able to count those students for enrollment, right?
Yeah.
And so, but what we need to do is we need to post, then we need to go through screening and interviewing, and also we have to outfit the classroom. We have Opportunity Council is in the classroom space, or was, and so we have to shift some things, right? Because we're also full at Irene, but we're going to use classrooms to serve kids, and we're shifting them. That's their office space, and so we're shifting them to a portable. They can do that role there. But what is it, October 9th?
It closes Friday.
So it'll close Friday and add another week. So probably by the 3rd week, November. There are also some meetings that occur with families to understand the children that are coming in. So there's some pieces that have to happen there too. But,
So Opportunity Council has moved to a port.
or they're in process of, yeah. Yep.
That's
Yep. So Tyler's done a nice job working with them, and they have 2 classrooms with the Head Start and with ECAP, and they coordinate with Aaron, and so it's all about communicating and doing it with enough time so people aren't freaking out. He had actually talked to them about the potential of moving last spring, early June. But we don't talk about something for a while, and all of a sudden, hey, guess what? We're moving. You know, it's different, but everyone's rallied. Seems like it's gone well. We have several letters that I'm gonna ask for your signatures for. So we crafted letters for the Whatcom Community Foundation, the Baker Foundation, and then Scott Eisenhart for the work that they've done and the donations they've made. So we have those ready for you at the end of tonight. And then, as I've shared in the past, the bond information, have had positive feedback from the community, and a lot of the sentiment is we don't have any question about what the need is. Just see how things play out.
I do like the timelines that are posted in the schools. The image.
See, it's got the parenthetical, if it's funded.
But I do like that it shows this is what you're looking at over the course of years.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Lisa and her coordination and coordinating with all of the different individuals in our buildings and just creating opportunities. And when we had the community meeting, we didn't have a large turnout, but we were able to capture it and be able to show that there's good information there. So, really all I have.
Great. And supposedly I'm on the radio this week, so if anyone listens to mainstream radio and not satellite. The bond. Oh.
I listen to podcasts.
I don't, I stream too, so I'm like,
Okay, well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. This is-
thank you. Do we have any information from board directors? Yeah, sure.
The Jogathon's coming up this week. That's a big IRA
Friday, yeah.
event. No one has anything going on. It might be fun to go put on a gold cape and run with the kiddos. Can't say I haven't done that in the past.
Some of those kids will run you tired. Yeah, very well.
Hopefully this Friday.
Homecoming's this Friday.
Thanks.
A lot of good things. A lot of fun things going on.
I'm sorry, I should have commented. That it's not my time at all, if you don't mind. I thought the dedication that Brian did and Lisa coordinated last night was fantastic. And we're super excited about how the policy has been carried out and to see it come to fruition and not be in a rush and consider and be able to bring those athletes back and just appreciate your help in setting up a nice space and all that. But it was really a nice event for the community, I think. So looking forward to more of those opportunities.
I think the community will be too, and it was nice to have press there as well. So if someone isn't connected to the community in some aspect, they'll be able to see it online and know that this is a trend that we'll be doing at Meridian. So it's always good to come back. And I mean, I know it won't always coordinate that way, but so great to have it during homecoming festivities, which historically are when you have your alumni come home. So timing was perfect. Less the loss.
Right. We're gonna talk.
Okay, well, I guess we can adjourn and sign some official documents.
We do have a lot to sign. So.
Okay.
Don't get up.
I was just impressed you waited for me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
It happened one time.